for your poem. I'm going to welcome up Paul Casey. Ace is not here yet, I don't think so. I might add a few more poets on after Paul. We'll see how we go. But yeah, welcome up poet and organizer of the Cork side for this whole thing, Paul Casey, please.
Thank you, Rafe. It's surreal and fantastic to be here all at the same time. It was surreal last week, Monday, to see so many of you that I've had the privilege of meeting over the years, year in, year out. I think there were only a couple of years where we couldn't go ahead, but the vast majority of years since it began, we've really been very fortunate in being able to forge new relationships and discovering each other's talents, you know, and being part of that journey of seeing the poets grow and then rediscovering them in print years later. And it's been such a valuable you know, connection for all of us here in Cork, certainly. So yeah, as I say, it's quite surreal to see everyone here. People who I haven't seen for 10 or 11 years even. But I'm really excited about the book, and the quality of the work in it is just really very, you know, surprising, very high, stunning work inside here. My own contribution is a little on the lighter end, I must admit, in comparison. If anything, it's perhaps a little warning sign to editors and people who work with words maybe too much and you know, live their lives inside the pages of a book and behind the screen of a computer. Anyway, it's called Grammar CV. I can't tell my ups from my downs, or my lefts from my rights, I confess, but I'm good with my verbs and my nouns. No matter the city or town, I'm a permanent emotional mess, for I can't tell my ups from my downs. I can see how egotistical it sounds, and it's not that I'm trying to impress. I'm just handy with verbs and with nouns. Times I can't even tell smiles from frowns. I'm a sociopath geek, more or less, who can't tell his ups from his downs. I've no patience for working with clowns. Much prefer to be sure than to guess, to be fair to my verbs and my nouns. I can tell my dark greens from my browns, and can still tell a no from a yes. So why care for my ups and my downs when I'm good with my verbs and my nouns? So yeah, very, very light-hearted choice, I admit. I'm flooded with fantastic memories of Coventry. Going right back to when Billy and myself first went over in 2008. And the following year with Jennifer Matthews, meeting John Morley, painting the town red in the middle of the night with Anthony Owen, and just absolutely, you know, loving discovering all the different parts, the history in particular, sitting for hours under the Godiva statue, just enthralled by it, which is why the idea of bringing that image onto the cover was such a strong one. But just discovering so much we have in common as cities in terms of our histories, you know, and most importantly, discovering that you are a town of poets, a city of poets, you know, which is what we pride ourselves to be in as well. So that's just absolutely fantastic. You know, and valuable reality for us, and I hope it continues for many years to come. So thank you to everyone who's been involved. Thanks, Rafe.
It's Paul. Yeah, another huge thank you to Paul. Oh, I think I froze there, sorry. Another huge thank you to Paul for all the work that he did on this anthology. Yeah, it definitely wouldn't have happened without him. Just a little heads up, Afric and Barry, I'm going to call on you in a moment just to fill the. We'll just shift you from the next section to this section just because Ace is not here yet. But yeah, Michelle, going back to what you were saying about the central point of the city, in a way, sometimes it feels like the Godiva statue is it, because that's where we tend to send visitors and tourists, like you must go see the Godiva statue. But actually, I think we have a stone now that shows the exact center spot of the city. We've recently had a bit of development in the city center. And I think from when they rebuilt it in the Blitz, I'm pretty sure there's a bit on the paving that says, this is the exact center of Coventry. So if you ever came again, you'd be able to stand right on the very point of it. Sorry, just randomly remembered that there. Can we welcome up next to read a lovely poem for us, Afric McGlinchey, please?
Hi, everyone. Thank you, Rafe and Paul. It's just fantastic. I absolutely agree with you about the cover. I just totally adored the Godiva and the Hurley Man together like that, and the clouds, the whole thing. It just was an amazing, inspired cover. And Lady Godiva was one of the highlights for me when I was going to Coventry. And actually, station, we were supposed to be there for an hour chatting away, and she was amazing about it. She'd actually tattooed. She'd done her own tattoo on her own arm, which was incredible. And then her following guests failed to for a bit and let us carry on riffing. And we had the most amazing chat. And I hadn't published any collections yet. And also, you know, we were the welcome we got at all the various venues and paper, and you know, we went to what was it called, the old Tithe barn in Polesworth. Was it Polesworth? And everything. I mean, we were just treated so well. Tony and Mel were amazing. They were the ones who hosted us. And yeah, I loved going to Stratford on Avon. I could go. Yeah, the poem is called The Attic and the Id. No stairs to take me there, just a drop-down ladder that vanishes after my vanishing feet. A spider to a landing strip, with chitons that intuit when to cling and when release. No dinner tonight. I'm dining on silence and other senses while I journey along my own silk road. No inclination for bed. I sleep poorly anyway, and here is respite from the pressure even to try. Instead, I'm dipping into your latest story. You dispensed with socks and scents, pulled away all your belongings in 20 minutes. I compare my small life with your adventures, and back I go to our foray into those African clubs where slim-hipped girls crossed legs seductively, flashing thigh and crotch, and stared at you, the only white man. You took my hand, startled the floor with moves you learned from Mambas and black rhythm. This reminding me of last night's reggae in Debarra's, decades falling away, and the wall he pushed me up against to kiss me, starting a thrill I haven't felt in years, that was just as quickly quenched when he spied his ex and desisted. And oh, I miss your nonchalance, forbidden glance that left me in no doubt and leaves me wanting still. Pulse is in the mind more than the body. I find that I touch strangers more easily than family. Let me return to the memory of that surprise kiss, and maybe another if the glass is full and lights are low. He wants me younger too, a man thing primed to want the taut and thin, and I disappoint with the erotica of words. From you and this spider, I learn the language of a web, feel ready now to leave the attic, drop down to begin my weaving. Thank you.
That was great, Afric. Sorry, I had to turn my video off. It was going very slow. Yeah, thanks so much for sharing that reading with us. There's so much incredible poetry in this anthology. It's a real testament to the creativity we've got in our seeds. Can I welcome up next Barry Patterson, please, from Coventry?
Hello, everybody. Here I am. My name is Barry. I first got involved in the Coventry poetry scene back around about 2006 when John Morley was running the Heaven Tree Press. And we had open mic nights in what was the Tin Angel back on Spon Street. That's the old street with the old windmill, that pub that our friend was talking about, drinking the hobgoblin in. And I came to Cork in 2010. Me and Tony Owen came over. We had a fantastic time, stayed with Paul, and I really enjoyed being in the city. I really liked Cork. My poem is, in fact, I'm one of the poets, as Rafe said at the last one. Rafe said, "Oh, I'm boring. I wrote about going to Cork." Yeah, well, that's what I wrote. That's what my poem in here is too. And I have this particular memory of that day that we drove to Limerick to do the readings in the White House, and Tony was phoning up the Coventry Town Hall from Paul's car and going down the road through Ireland, saying, "Hello, I'm in Ireland." And then we visited a stone circle, and me and Paul swam in this lake. with this thick weed that wrapped itself around your ankles. It was a fantastic day, and I had a great time and a lot of happy memories. So, and I say thank you to everyone, particularly the people who've really put a lot of time, like Paul and Rafe, particularly done this wonderful anthology, and also some people who have worked really hard, keeping it all going. Tony worked really hard for some years, keeping this going. Credit to him for that. Anyway, my poem is called An Englishman in Cork. Oh, Cork, to arrive in a new city is to meet and greet, to be met, to be greeted, so hail. A stranger in your streets was busking with his pen, listening to the bells and the birds and the buses and the rhythmical shouts of the paper lads. Sat outside the post office with a coffee watching the world go by. Bought a cap, ate sausages, drank some ale, made new friends. I saw you in a silver riverine morning light of dream-like swift whistles. I saw you where your grey-clad quay bristles with cranes, hums and forklift exhalations. I saw you where the stark pale horns of crescent shell sections litter your ancient seabed curb. I saw you with gloom clouds coming sea-wise over the green hills to divulge Atlantic rain. I saw you in the poet's face where Coin's stone horsehead stares out from an upstairs bar. I saw you where red brick monster church calls out its ancient primal cry. I saw you where your pub beat laughter has risen to hold the yin and yang of stout and German Weiss beer to a 5-bar beat. I saw you as I was walking back up the hill at 2 a.m, lit by the cold old moon hanging in the east. Oh, Cork, and I loved you. I saw you where your tiny golden wren is still shouting its 1,000-year song from the museum wall. I saw you where the zigzags and spirals of the Cape Clear stone were singing of the unseen sun. I saw you shivering in the west wind in Cove Harbour, clutching a paper package tied up with string. I saw you in an old greatcoat with a Webley revolver in a leather holster over your hip. I saw you shot, starved, exiled, lost at sea, singing of a distant land. I saw you where your polished granite tigers' nests rub shoulders with the boarded up and paint-peeled houses of neglect. I saw you in the tangled rust vertebrae clamping phone lines to a streetlight stem. I saw you all red and white and shiny in Mike's diner, eating a fish shupper to the strains of Glen Campbell, drinking a can of 7-Up. You're a heron flap over St. Patrick's Bridge in the near dark. You're a quiet clearing in the park. You're a banjo ukulele in a shop window. You're a dark-eyed girl behind a bar. You're a motorist waiting at the narrow exit of a side street. You're a hooded crow tearing holes in the turf like there's no tomorrow. You're a Byzantine parking permit. You're a bullet-shattered square of discoloured glass in a shrine to struggle. You're a moorhen chick walking on lily pads of black stick legs. Oh, river-loving, hill-clad city, broad boulevards and busy side streets, all spires and silos, a guild of cupolas, isle city of music and poetry. I salute you, I sing to you, I offer my praise to you and to all your folk. Thank you.
How's that for a tribute to Cork then, eh? Yeah, beautiful. Yes, sorry, Barry, at the launch part 1, I did accidentally insult Barry, but I called myself boring, but then lumped him in with it because we both wrote about Cork. But no, it's not boring really, it's a lovely thing to do. It's like, of course we want to write about Cork. It was an amazing experience.